here's the deal with the best player in the world. And he is, right? I mean, Connor McDavid, he's very, 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 very good. He's on a weird level to where he's as fast as a Pavel Bure. He's got the quick hands like a Patrick Kane. He's got a hockey sense like no other. He knows where guys are at. But in saying that, man, dude, he's effing babied by the media. I'm sorry. Everybody, God, Connor McDavid deserves better. He deserves better. He needs to get out. He deserves better. Sure, okay. That team should be better. They should be a lot more deep. Goaltending was great, but still, you got a 39-year-old goaltender. You know, what are you going to do with him? You're going to rely on him to with odd man rushes left and right. Your defense kind of sucks. You played 4D last night and 3 overtimes. You only played 3 lines. You need depth. But Connor McDavid didn't show up the first game. 2 games. Didn't show up. I didn't even notice him. Got shut right down. You spanked Winnipeg all damn year, and all of a sudden they're like, we're playing defense now. And they're like, oh, what do we do? They shut you down. Then you have a 3-point night. And you're up 4-1, and you as a captain, as a leader, meaning when you see the team start kind of like discombobulating, and you're like, whoa, get up here, guys, let's go. Like, that's still on you, dude. Your team loses that game. You fall apart that game. And then you go through last night against, of course, the Winnipeg Jets, and you had a great wraparound goal. And I'm just speaking to Connor McDavid. But, dude, you were responsible for 2 goals against. Completely responsible. You had the puck behind the net and you just loaf it up the boards, and the guy's like, no, I'll keep that in. I could have kept that damn thing in. You kick it wide. You don't pick your man up. They shoot from the point, gets tipped in, whatever the hell it was. In triple overtime. You're coming down the wall, Connor McDavid, and you have it, and you're like, what's up? Where's the dry side? I'll cut through the middle. I'm going to sauce that bad boy to you. I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. Just so kind of a weak, lazy play. The D's like, I know exactly what you're doing, dude. I know you've done this a million times on me. You're coming down the wall. You're going to try to sauce over my stick right to Draisaitl. He's going to use his big-ass body. He's going to take it to the net. I'm going to bat that damn thing down. I'm going to kick it to Kyle Connor for a breakaway. It's over. It's over. He deserves better, Charlie. Well, you know what? When you're the best player in the world, you need to find a way, and you certainly can't be responsible for 2 goals against. Go.
Boom. Okay. I got a couple different points on this.
All right.
First, before I go to a historical perspective, I want to throw this at you. And I was searching Connor McDavid on Twitter and trying to read different things. Okay. This is from Rachel Dory, a reporter. She says, I watched every shift he played in 4 games. I counted over 30 infractions against him. The fact he didn't draw 1 speaks to what the NHL wants from its officials, and it is not good for the game. So now this plays into your narrative of the media always...
Who's that again? Time out. Who's that again?
This is, hold on. Her name is Rachel Dory. She's a reporter. I screenshot it.
A reporter? Does she know like what infractions really are in the playoffs, or is she just like, what's an infraction to her? Like, did she show some video? Because I know I saw 1, but Connor McDavid could have got a penalty on that too for reaching around. Then the other guy retaliated. So that's both of them in the box. Did she send any other tweet about it?
So here we go. She's from Toronto. She's an analytics staff graph type reporter. Okay. She does have 13,000 followers, but I think this was an interesting, I mean, a little bit. I think it's interesting, the sequence, though. So, she throws that out there. Our guy, Scotty Upshaw, said, this is the postseason. The playoffs is officiated differently. So my question to you, though, is, even if it's not a huge deal, is there anything to that? Is there anything to that? Because in other sports, for example, second day in a row, I'm making the comparison to Michael Jordan. You have the Jordan rules, where he gets fouls, other guys don't. This particular reporter is wondering if Connor McDavid isn't getting any calls. Do you think there's anything to that, is my question?
There might be, but why would the refs want to do that? Why would they want to do that? He doesn't really bitch and moan. Like, he's very... Connor's supposed to be a really good guy. Like, really, really nice. But every time I've seen him, talk to him, even, he just has that kind of, like, puss face where he's just meh. Always. Like, even when he scores, he's meh. And he just never smiles. He never seems like in a happy mood. It kind of bugs me a little bit. My point is, which that has nothing to do with anything, but my point is, why would the refs want to do that then? He doesn't bitch at the refs. He's not. Remember Crosby used to do that all the time and complain, and they would be like, screw you. But Connor's doesn't necessarily do that. Now, are they doing that to the other superstars in the league? Look around. Austin Matthews is drawing penalties out the wazoo. He's not fighting back. He's getting hooked down, but he's barreling through guys. I don't know. Maybe a little bit. But let me know what's her. I forgot her name again. But if she's like, these are the infract. Well, what's an infraction to you, right? What is it? If they look at the guy, Like, I don't know. Send me some more clips. The one you sent me, Connor McDavid is going for the puck and he reaches over the guy. That's an initial penalty. Then the guy exaggerates. He should have got a penalty in it too. But you didn't send anything else. So what the hell are you talking about? Now, there are going to be always cases like that. When you have the puck all the time, that kind of stuff happens. But I don't know, man. Look, he's a hell of a hockey player. You dummy guys all year long. You're dummying guys all year long. You look great. And you're always pumped up, and Mario Lemieux points, when you put it all together. And then you go in the playoffs, and you didn't even show up for 2 games. Were you getting hooked the whole time then? No, they started playing defense. Paul Maurice, head coach of the Winnipeg Jets, is like, no. We have a game plan now. We shut these guys down. They have no depth. Now, I'm not saying it's all on Connor McDavid, but it's certainly not. It's certainly his fault, too, with a bunch of other stuff that goes down. You're the leader of that team, and you duffed the puck a couple times, and you didn't show up for the first 2 games. And it's like, well, people stop babying him. Poor guy deserves better. Well, he could have done better, too. I just don't feel sorry for guys like that. Not to mention you took $14 million.
Hey.
Why don't you take $10 million? Maybe you get another $4 million defenseman. I don't know.
Take all the money you can get, baby.
Well, then don't bitch.
Okay. Couple more points. And I think the historical perspective is important. So let's get to that. Let's do some comparisons. I got some numbers up between Gretzky, Lemieux, Connor McDavid, their ages, so on and so forth. But you bring up the fact that most people agree that he's at least the most talented player in the world. Okay, now to be the best player, you do have to eventually have the postseason success. But right now, coming off a series where we just watched Nathan MacKinnon go crazy against the Blues, just look at their production in their respective series here. So MacKinnon versus the Blues in 4 games had 9 points. He was a +6 for that series. Connor McDavid had the goal in the final game, had the 3 assists in game 3, didn't score at all, or didn't produce a point, I should say, as you mentioned, Cam. In the first 2 games, he was -2 for the series. And here's the difference also. So Nathan MacKinnon, who I think it's fair to throw him up there with Connor McDavid, Nathan MacKinnon played and put up his points in a, let's be real, blowout of a series. Outscored the Blues 20-7. So, okay, I mean, he was a huge part of that. But also, Colorado overall was just better. Whereas when you look at that series between the Jets and the Oilers, even though on paper, if you didn't watch it, if you don't look up the numbers and all that, you think it was a sweep. Okay, they kicked their butts. Not the case. After game 1, all 3 of those last games went into overtime. So they're all 1-goal games. The final game, as we know, last night goes into 3 overtimes. So that's where a player like Connor McDavid could absolutely make a difference between winning and losing a game and thus a series, especially in those last 3 games. If you're the best player in the world, and every time you're playing the Jets past game 1, it is a tie game after regulation. That is where the best player in the world needs to make a difference and either make a play or score a goal to win you a game.
Thank you very much. You are starting to be you're going to start doing all these calls up in Canada for me now, dude.
Hey,
you're 100% right there, eh?
Hey, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, this was probably 7 years ago. Somebody, you know how you get calls, and you get way more than I do because you obviously played in the NHL, but everybody wants you on their show and their podcast, and I get a little bit of that, different markets, and this was about 7-8 years ago, and somebody from, it was either Saskatchewan or Edmonton.
Saskatchewan.
Wherever it was, Winnipeg, they're like, hey, you want to talk hockey? And I just said, you know what? I mean, no. I know hockey on a level of I live in St. Louis, I cover the sport, I cover the Blues, I enjoy it, but your average fan up there knows more about hockey than I do. And I said, you know what?
Charlie.
I would do it, but I declined the interview because I'm like, but this was also 7-8 years ago.
Don't do it. Just don't. Dude, I get nervous every time I go up in Canada because these guys, you're absolutely right. That's all that it's everywhere. It's 10 times more than what the Cardinals in baseball are here. I mean, 10 times more. Everybody knows. I got to get up in the mornings when I do these hits and honestly look, I'm like, okay, get my groove on. Okay, what happened there? Oh, he didn't back check. Okay, get that down. Okay, what do I say? It's like you're scouting a kid and you got to write a report and send it into somebody. You got to know because and especially those guys, they have fun with me. So they'll call me out if I don't, you know what I mean? So you need to know your stuff. You absolutely do. I forgot what we were talking about, but the point is with Connor McDavid, His team needs to be, the depth, they're going to have a little bit of cap room. They're going to have to do something, of course, but he still takes some of the blame. You have to put some of the onus on the captain who had 50 billion points this year, and everybody's like, he might be the most talented player in the world. But the best player in the world is going to be the guy that has maybe not as much skill as him, maybe not as flashy as him, but damn it, he gets in that playoffs, and I don't care who's backing him. He's all over the place, and he knows how to get away from scrums. He doesn't turn the puck over and triple overtime on kind of like I don't care play, like here we come. I usually do this. It's fine. Well, the guy that he's backing up, like come on, and he invited that little sauce. He bats it down. It's gone. Game over. It's like the best players don't do that in the playoffs, dude. They just don't do that in the playoffs. So he needs to find an adjustment. He needs to play, maybe take a little bit off that offense and play a little bit more defense. I mean, do I see him diving and blocking shots? And I don't know. I don't know, man. But damn, he can go end-to-end against Ottawa. He can go end-to-end against Winnipeg when they were sucking all year. You know, but it's a different animal. It's wild, it's mean, it's in your face, and it's a wake-up call to him, in my opinion. It really is. And why am I the only one saying this? I don't get it. They just kiss his ass all day, every day. Poor guy. Oh, God. What? Poor guy. You poor guy. Darnell Nurse is the one I feel sorry for. He played 68 minutes, 63 minutes, but had a 4.5-minute shift, and then goes back out there he's blocking shots with his face. He'll fight you. He does everything. I feel sorry for that dude. I just don't get it, man. Like when you're the leader, and Eric, you know it, Connor. You're the best player. You know it. Like you know you're pumped up every second of every day, and you're a leader of that team, and you're up by 3. That's your team. It's your team. Get the guys going on the bench. That's just my take, dudes. I'm sorry, man. Counter me on something.
How about this? I got a good counter.
Text line, go ahead.
Text line as well. And by the way, on the text line, I'd like some older folks, if possible, because I want to know the narrative of the Gretzkys of the world, of the Lemieux of the world, when they hadn't won a cup either, because it's kind of similar in terms of how long they were in the NHL. Okay, so I want to make a couple points here. I want to start with basketball, just because I brought up Michael Jordan yesterday, just for perspective, because we're talking about GOAT-type players, right? We're talking about the greatest of all time or the most talented type players. Michael Jordan entered the NBA 1985, did not win a title until 1991. We're talking 5-6 years. LeBron James entered the NBA 2003-2004 season, did not win a title until his second year with Miami. That was 2011-2012. We're talking, that's, 8-9 years. All right, now let's stick with hockey. Mario Lemieux. Mario Lemieux enters the NHL, what year here? And I got to make sure I'm bad at reading hockey reference stats. We know that. But 84-85 as a 19-year-old. When did Mario win his first cup with the back-to-back? Early 90s, correct?
90-91,
okay.
92.
I'm trying to find the exact years just so I have good info.
93 Montreal snuck by, and that's when the Islanders beat Pittsburgh in the second round. That was the biggest upset ever. Go ahead, sorry.
So my point is, that's a similar time spent in the NHL as what Connor McDavid is now dealing with, because he's just completed his 6th season in the NHL. So Mario Lemieux won his first cup as a 25-year-old, 90-91 season, of course, went back-to-back the next year as a 26-year-old. Connor McDavid is 25 right now. Okay, so again, if Connor wins next year, but we're also talking about guys that both played 5, 6, 7 years-ish before they won a cup. Same with Wayne Gretzky, and I'm trying to find him as well. So Wayne Gretzky, of course, they win their first cup in 83-84 with Edmonton. So his first year in the NHL, so he played, as an 18-year-old, but 79, 80, you got 78, 79.
4 years and he started dominating.
Right, so 84, he's 23 years old. All I'm saying is we're talking about the GOATs of hockey in Gretzky and in Mario Lemieux, and it took both of them 4, 5, 6 years to win a cup. So it's not crazy that Connor McDavid has not had the success yet. And I already mentioned the basketball players who are debated as the GOATs. They each took, either 6 or 7 seasons with Jordan or 8, 9 seasons with LeBron James.
It's so funny. While I'm saying this, somebody from up in Canada on TSN said, Cam, you're amazing this morning on TSN Radio, Toronto Radio. You were the only one with the courage to call out McDavid for the way he played in the Oilers-Jets series. I'm not going to say his name, but he goes, meanwhile, one of Canada's biggest banks has launched an ad campaign starring Connor McDavid. Pretty awkward after he just gets beat. Hey, achieving your ambition needs a plan. That's their slogan, and he just gets sweet. Look, I'm not sure if the guy.
They should change the slogan to something like, when you can control your ambition, you can make progress.
It doesn't, again, I don't want to bash a guy because he's just great for hockey. I mean, he's unbelievable. But it's, again, a different animal in the playoffs. And, yeah, Mario figured it out. Damn, he had cancer, his back was out, and he still did it. But, like, look, Connor could win next year. They could get some guys, and he could figure it out. But right now he hasn't figured it out. And so you watch him dominate regular season, you dominate. And then you see him in the playoffs, and it's just not the same. That, to me, is a red flag, dude. There's something, and I know your team's not that great, but there's something you specifically aren't doing, in my opinion, that he needs to adjust and become more of something, whatever it is. Like you're behind the net. Again, look at the goals. I mean, he's just like, I'm going to throw. Dude, you can't. You got to hold on to it and skate it out, find something. You're fast. Like, you can't just rim it around. They're like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Right at the point, I'm going to walk the line and throw it on net. That kind of stuff, man. Everybody makes mistakes. They all do. But he made too many, and he didn't show up for a couple games. And then you have opportunities to score in overtime as the best player in the world, and you didn't. And you were directly affected why you didn't in a negative way. Like, it's like, and nobody's calling him out. And I'm just watching that, and I'm like, I don't get it.
Cam.
Is he he's not going to interview with all you guys. You want him on your podcast? He ain't coming on. Be real.
Why don't you guys get him?
Well, he hates me now.
Does he? Well, it'd be an interesting podcast. Okay, how about this for a question for you? Wayne Gretzky, as we know, won his cups in Edmonton, left, never won a cup after that. For Connor McDavid, does it have to be the opposite? Do you think, does he have to, and I know he has just a monstrous contract, but can he win a cup in Edmonton with that organization in place? Do they know what they're doing is my question.
Well, they should. I mean, they should. Holland and Dave Tippett, those are old school smart guys. They should. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, they have a lot of people backing them and talking to them, and they got money, and, I don't know. Hell, you can call Wayne Gretzky up and be like, what do you think of that? You have every hockey person you need right there to help you with whatever kind of decisions you want. Now, is it hard getting guys to play in Edmonton? Maybe. Your car's dirty all damn year. But I don't know, man. Yeah, any team could win, okay? It's just that simple. Like, if they change next year and they get some kid that comes up and he's great and Connor figures a couple things out, they could win. Now, if he goes out and wins just one Stanley Cup, he doesn't have to win 4 or 5 in a row. He just wins one. You did it, dude. Like, you did it. Like, you figured it out. You did it. But you have to get there. Hell, you got to win a series. You got to do something. Has he won a series yet? I don't think so.
I was looking
He's been
earlier.
in the playoffs 2 years, right?
Yeah, he had a couple years where he didn't make it.
Yeah, it's just, and everybody says, oh, God, he's wasting his time. Well, I don't know. I don't like to blame everybody else but the $14 million guy who's got a C on his jersey. There has to be the onus on the leaders, no matter what. And Draisaitl, too.
So in 2017, they made it through the first round against San Jose and Anaheim. And then they lost to Anaheim
with Patty.
2, 4, 6, 7 games. And then, and then they didn't make it. Then they didn't make it in 18 or 19. Last year, first round loss to the Blackhawks, and this year, obviously, to the Winnipeg Jets.
Winnipeg Jets, who you just spanked. You spanked
also
all year. Spanking everybody.
Also losing to Chicago last year in the bubble. That's not. That's like we don't talk about that, but like Chicago wasn't good last year
in your bubble. No, Rock. In your bubble.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
in
that's
your
true. Yeah, you're right.
Bubble, homie.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. We didn't. I kind of forgot about that. And here's the worst thing is 7 games against the Ducks in 2017 is one thing. That's your second year in the league. You're a young cat. That Ducks team wasn't Corey Perry, Pat Maroon. You lost to that Blackhawks team in 5 games.
Again,
lost them in 5 games.
I don't want to be a hypocrite because the bubble's a bubble, but on the other hand, that's your bubble. You're the man. You don't have to go nowhere. You're right. Come on.
Cam.
Come on.
I misspoke. First time ever. He is still 24 years old, Connor McDavid. He just turned 24 in January. So even with that monstrous contract, he becomes unrestricted in 2026. I mean, he'll still be 29, right? So he's going to get another contract in that same realm. And then that's where, look, next 5 years, can he win one? Sure. But a 29-year-old still in your prime, Connor McDavid, who gets paid again and can he can go and pick whatever team he wants 5 years from now. But that's a long time from now.
Whatever team you want. Whatever team you want that has $14 million to spare.
But won't every team? Okay. That's going to be a sweepstakes where if Connor McDavid wants to come to your team and you start feeling around with his agent and he wants to come to your team, you're going to figure out your cap situation a year in advance to make that happen.
Man, I tell you what, if Nathan McKinnon goes off this year, and I know their team's loaded, and they're going to have injuries and stuff and he just is steamrolling, he's the best player in the world. I said it. It is what it is, man. Nathan McKinnon right now, I'm like, that guy battled. Do you see him? I know, again, the Blues weren't where they needed to be. I get it. I get it, okay? But they still spanked the Blues. Rockin' Cats. Scoring when you needed to score at that particular moment. When the Blues put a little bit of pressure, McKinnon would come down and just do something, right? Just say, no, I'm the man. Right now, that cat, dude, he looked better in the playoffs. That's what I want to see. That's when you know you're a man. That's when you know you're the best. Is when you're I'm the best during the regular season. Fine, but I look at me in the playoffs, I'm a warrior. I don't make stupid-ass mistakes, especially in OT. I go, and I'll put guys on their back that are 225 pounds like Vlad Tarasenko, and I'll find a way. And I know my team's better, but man, oh man, dude, I'm watching both of them. And Connor could look great, but when they're shutting him down, he's shut down. All right, let me get to the text line real quick. 855-282-8255. 3 and 4 chimes in. It goes, Gretzky scored in the playoffs. Gretzky made it to the Cup and lost to the Islanders in the final. Let the Oilers know it. That they did not leave anything on the ice like the Islanders. Gretzky commented that the Islanders taught him what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I get that. Which bank is it? TD Bank, or Letterkenny? Is McDavid the Bryce Harper of hockey? Can you help me with that comparison, homie?
So I feel like Bryce Harper is much more brash, way better personality than Connor McDavid. But I'm guessing the texture is going for the overhyped situation, whereas you can't disagree and discount Connor McDavid's raw numbers. They're eye-popping.
No doubt.
Whereas Bryce Harper, I know there was a poll a couple years ago, I believe it was amongst major league players, and Bryce Harper came out as the most overrated player, but he's still really good. It's just that coming up, when you're on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a 16-year-old, and you like to talk, and you're brash, and you got the hair, and you got Scott Boras, and you basically graduate high school early, and you go play JUCO baseball in what's supposed to be your whatever year of high school that was supposed to be for him. The crazy thing about Bryce Harper is he has lived up to that. I mean, the same with LeBron James. These guys, and Connor McDavid, these guys have been talked about since they're 12, right? And they've all lived up to it. I know they don't all have championships, but I think it's fair because Bryce Harper is somebody where you always are expecting more, especially in the postseason. And remember the fact that Bryce Harper leaves the Nationals and then they win the World Series after that.
Okay, so all right, let me give you an example of how people evaluate the playoffs, like in hockey, and as they should. Like, why do you think Walt's not in the Hall of Fame right now? I mean, do you think if Walt would have won a cup, he'd be in the Hall of Fame right now? I swear to God, I think 100% right. Jeremy Roenick, 100% right. Pierre Turgeon, 1,400 points. Sweetheart of a human being. God, great podcast he came on with us, by the way. 1,400. They all came on, by the way. 1,400 points. He didn't win a cup, and that That's it. And he was huge in the play. Remember Dale Hunter rocked him after they won, and he scored that overtime goal, and Dale Hunter knocked him out for the playoffs, and they upset 93 the Murray Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr when they were just killing everybody. They had like so many points that year, and they figured out a way. He still is not in the Hall of Fame. And if he would have won a cup, there's just no doubt. That just shows you. So my point is, like, it's a different game. It's a different level. And he hasn't, as a whole, lived up to the second year part. Like, your second, you play your regular season, and the playoffs are there, right? That your second season. And he just hasn't lived up to that. And that, in my opinion, is the most important factor. You could score 500 points next year. Get 50. Hell, screw it. Get 10,000 points. That'd be hilarious. What great. And then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, I'm shut down because they're playing defense. And they're not calling a couple different things. And you're just shut down. I don't know. And, of course, he had 3 assists and this and that and the other. But, geez, 31 minutes on Connor McDavid. That's kind of cool.
Well, how about this? Was that from the text line?
No. That's just me looking at the time. Like, wow,
hey,
31 minutes went by. Holy cow.
No, but look, Lord. I think this conversation, you can spin it to different athletes in all different sports that have similar storylines of great players in the regular season, and then for whatever reason, for a time in their career, they don't have the postseason success. But again, I'll throw this at you because we're gonna measure and gauge Connor McDavid when it's all said and done, which is probably still what? I mean, it might be 15, 16 years from now. This dude might play till he's 40 years old. So I'll be the first one to say, if 15 years from now, this man retires with the most unbelievable stats of all time and no cups, that will be an absolute huge disappointment. However, when you look at somebody like Wayne Gretzky, who won his cups early, didn't win any in the later stages of his career, same with Lemieux. I know he had all kinds of health issues, back issues. But still, Lemieux won his last cup at 26, played another, 10 years, didn't win a cup. So the narrative will be different around Connor McDavid. If he wins his cup or two when he's 33, looking back, it'll be like how we look at John Elway. John Elway was really good for how many years? 15 years. Could never win a Super Bowl until finally they get a little bit of a defense. They get a running game with Terrell Davis, and he wins 2 Super Bowl championships at the end of his career.
But he had to change something, too, though. There's probably something that he was doing wrong. I don't know. Maybe not. But, look, everybody's different. But you're right, dude. And I think he will win. But as of right now, he's not playoff ready. He's not playoff Connor that he needs to be. And that is just that simple. Put Jim on real quick. I got a question for the text line, too. The text line's blowing up. Jim, what do you got to say? Go ahead.
I got to respectfully disagree with you, Cam, about
Go ahead.
David.
Nice. Oh, God.
You said you wanted the older guys to call. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Gretzky in his prime on this team, and I'll even throw in Jari Kurri, would not have won a series. Gretzky and Kurri with the current lineup that McDavid has to play with would not have won this series.
Against the Jets team that was struggling all year long? Okay.
No way. And I'll tell you why. Gretzky got to play. He had grinders on his team, man. He had Dave Semenko. He had Messier. He had guys way better defense, way better goalie. This team that McDavid plays on is crap. They're terrible.
I didn't say they weren't. I didn't say they weren't, and I didn't say that they'd win a series. But how about win a game? How about take over a game in overtime as the best player in the world? How about something to that effect?
Gretzky, and Kurri, and I'll throw Kurri in for the Draisaitl factor. They would not have beat Winnipeg because they don't have anybody else on the team.
They would have made it competitive.
They're terrible. Edmonton's a terrible team.
They are a terrible team, but I'm just that's fine. I kind of agree with you, dude. But I'm just saying, the onus is still on him.
To prove my point further,
go ahead.
In Phil Maroon's pool in his NHL bracket challenge, I picked Winnipeg to win that series in 5 games.
Yeah, man. A lot of people did. Why do you think that is? Because look, here's the deal. They need more depth. They need a lot. They need a lot of things. But the point is, the whole point I was making is the way the media and everybody else, the way you look at it like, oh, my God, he deserves better, is, oh, he was great. No, he wasn't. He wasn't great. He wasn't great.
He was not great. He was not great. But I'm telling you, with the nucleus of what he's got to work with, and I'm not throwing, there's blame because he's the captain. But you put Gretzky in his prime and Jari Kurri in his prime, they would not have won.
Well, maybe they would have won the game that went up 4-1 because his leadership skills would have been a lot better. Maybe he would have stopped and had told the coach, call timeout, or in between period, or whatever, or something. So,
those Gretzky teams had grinders. They had dudes that could play, and they won the cup.
And they won the cup.
Benefited from that. Huh?
Yeah. They won the cup too, though. They went on and won 4 cups in a row. That's how good they were. I
and then put their goalie up against Grant Fuhr.
But there's also teams with great leadership, and you're the best player in the world that you squeak out wins against a team that maybe you're overmatched too, and we just didn't see it, dude. So it's like
Look who Gretzky had on the blue line. Charlie Huddy, Kevin
I don't care about Gretzky anymore. He's the best of the best, okay? He deserved those cups, and he's unbelievable. With him and Curry at their prime on this team, Edmonton team, win against Winnipeg, probably not. But I think they would have made it more competitive. I don't think Gretzky would have turned it over like in his prime. Now, he did it in 96. And that wasn't even that big of a turnover, by the way. He just hit a stick and went. Where Connor McDavid legitimately turned the damn puck over twice stupidly in his own zone. In the opposite zone, in the D zone. Go ahead.
Cam, I normally agree with you on about 90% of things. You know that. And you're making some valid points. And I do believe that the media up there kisses ass and all that. But in this one, you can't put all the blame on him.
I'm not putting all the blame on him. No one is. I'm not putting all the blame. It's a balance of blame. It's a balance of blame. It's the ownership group. It's the coach. It's the GM. It's the depth. It's Connor. Yeah. It's Draisaitl. It's everybody. But it's Connor still part of the blame. That's my point. Oh, yeah. Don't take him and put him in a pedestal.
Right. Whenever you're the captain, you get you're the guy. But I just tell you, they need to figure it out at Edmonton.
They got to figure it out.
That team is crap, and they're never going to win anything with those two and crap with the rest of the team.
They played 4D in overtime, dude. That's why Darnell Nurse had like an hour and a half of ice time. And he's the biggest warrior in the league, by the way. I love that dude.
But here's the deal, Cam. You can go forward. You can play 4D and win a cup like the Blackhawks did back in their day, but you got to have guys like Duncan Keith and Seabrook and those guys on your back line, which were superstars when they were in their prime.
Yeah, they still had like Jarmelson. Dude, they had Jarmelson and stuff still too.
They don't have that in Edmonton. That's the problem. You can't
when you try. Well, they're not winning the cup. But, okay, spread the blame.
I'll let you go.
Well, how about this, Jim? Hold on, Jim. You there?
Yeah.
Well, how about this? Charlie? Let's find some common ground. Okay, you guys love each other. All right, you're disagreeing. Oh, yeah. Let's find some common ground because I agree with both of your points. But I think where I agree with Cam is when you're Connor McDavid and you're on the ice for, in this series, on average, 30 minutes. Now, obviously, 3 of these games went into overtime.
Right.
But that's a lot of ice time for your superstar who's also a playmaker, right? He's the guy that's supposed to make plays. So I think it's a fair point to say you were on the ice for 4 games, an average of 30 minutes. You were on the ice for 2 hours total, and you could not will your team to 1 win. I think that's fair for a playmaker who's the most talented dude in the world.
Charlie's getting good, Jimmy. He's getting good at this kind of stuff.
Hey, Cam, he is getting good. And that's what's fun to be able to disagree. I love you, both of you guys. You know that, and all I'm saying is, I agree. He should have won a game. They should have won a game. I mean, I picked them to lose the series. I didn't think they had a chance in hell to win that series, Edmonton, with the team they got. But Gretzky had guys banging guys in the board, busting puck loose for him. I mean,
there was one of the best teams in the world, though. No doubt. Huh? You don't even have to have the best of the best. But anyway, all right, Jim. I got some more stuff. Hell, 20 minutes is Charlie's show. So let me get a little more hockey talk going down. Our show.
Jim's show.
Here. Let me get. I know the text line. I'm going to get to you guys.
Cam, hold on a second.
Go ahead.
There's not that much going on, buddy. We got a little Cardinals talk. You can talk about whatever you want, dude.
But here's what I wanted to ask the text line. The Blues got to do something. They're going to have some money probably freed up. If things go the way I kind of think they're going to go, they might have some coin freed up. Who would you rather want? Jack Eichel or Brady Tkachuk on this team? And depending on how it goes, but like if you look at both of them, like, God, Jack's a big center. Like, he's a superstar, big guy. Like, you kind of need that a little bit. I don't know. Like, I just kind of been teased a little bit. And maybe Brady wants out eventually. I don't know. His contract, he might has one more. But I just wanted to see if you guys want to ponder that a little bit. Jack Eichel, Brady Tkachuk. Oh, my God. That is just would be a face of your franchise, let along with all the other guys that they have, depending on who stays, who goes, whatever the case might be. But there's going to be some stuff that goes down. And Dougie, Dougie Armstrong's
Dougie.
like, no, we're good. Yeah, we're good. No. He's like, I'm going to go. And do you think Buffalo's like, yeah, I want to do another deal with you, Doug. Yay, let's go. Who knows what they're thinking. They might be like, I don't even want to answer that phone call.